Hello, I am Terry A. Webb. I am a counselor with the Cuyahoga Community College Metropolitan Campus Counseling Center. I'm here today to talk to you about stress. This presentation today was done in collaboration with Dr. Phyllis Dukes Hobson, PhD, who is also a member of the counseling staff. Today we're going to talk about stress. We're going to explore stress and help you to understand that stress is actually a natural part of life. It is absolutely impossible to lead a life without stress because some stress is actually good. You need to know that you need to be to places on time. That is, you need to get up when the alarm clock goes off. You need to pick your children up from school on time. Some stress is actually pretty healthy, it's short-lived, and it keeps you going. And some of it is a natural part of life. And as I go into this presentation, we will explore stressors and possible ways to help you minimize the stress you may be experiencing in your life. Now, what is stress? A clinical definition of stress is defined as a feeling of tension that can be both emotional and physical. It is an emotional and physiological response. It is a human function. It is the body's way of dealing with difficult and unfamiliar situations. Stress occurs when you're placed in a situation of which you have no idea of what it is that you're into. And that's not necessarily fear, because all situations are not wrought with fear. But as this young man so demonstratively illustrates in this picture, this graphic, he lets you know how on the outside stress can be exhibited. There are different types of stress too. Some of the types of stress that we experience are normal and natural. Infancy. What type of stress do you think a baby would experience? Really? Babies don't have bills, spouses, money, any of the normal things that most of us stress out about. 10-page papers due tomorrow, of which you only started on today. They don't have those kind of issues. An infant struggles with, my diaper needs to be changed. I am hungry now. I don't like the taste of this, but they can't do anything about it. So there's some stress associated with it. And as we all know, it's short-lived. There's childhood stress. Children are learning how to walk, ride bikes, make friends, dance, do all these different things. Adolescence, where do I fit in? What am I good at? Well, I'm not quite an adult, but I'm not really a child. So what should I do? How should I behave? My body's changing. And then you get to the stage of marriage. Now this one right here can go all different types of ways. If it's entered into the right way, it could be a blessed thing. Then we go into pregnancy, of which I know nothing about. I've heard that it causes stress. I'm going to take their word for it. Parenthood can be very stressful at times if you are devoted and committed parents. Divorce is also stressful. Death of a spouse is stressful. Aging in itself has its own stress. Coming to the realization that you cannot or should not do some of the things you did when you were 16, 17, 18, 19, or 20 years old. Then there's social stress. The cost of living, inflation, recession, unemployment, urban problems. Who would have thought that some of the problems that we have in inner city now would have actually existed 30, 40, 50 years ago? Changing values. The values in society are constantly evolving. The neighborhoods and the demeanor and the thought processes of the people that I was around when I was younger a good while ago no longer fully are like that. The energy crisis, we're looking for alternative energy. Relocation, people are now a lot more mobile. Travel is becoming more and more cumbersome because of inflating gas prices and fuel prices for other modes of transportation. So some stress we have to deal with. Now, there's personal stress. A lot of stress is placed upon individuals how they see themselves. It is actually good to practice positive self-talk. We'll probably get back to that one. How do you feel about yourself? Are your expectations reasonable? Are they measurable, ambitious, or are they just out of the ordinarily impossible to do? Like such as, I might want to fly on my own. That is unreasonable expectation. But a reasonable expectation is that you will pass all of your classes. You may have a disability. You may be struggling with addiction. You may have an injury. You may have a long-term chronic illness. Then there's stresses with jobs, dissatisfaction. I've been at places where I did not like my job. There could be conflict in the workplace. Yes, conflict does exist in the workplace, contrary to what many people believe. It's actually hard to like everybody you work with all the time, as if we don't understand that concept carries over into our families. You actually spend more time with the people you work with on most weeks than you do the people in your home. And the people in your home may get on your nerves. So some stress is normal. That doesn't mean you don't love them or love each other. Work overload. Things happen. Things have to be done. People have a tendency to not do what they need to do, and somebody has to get it done. You may be bored. You may be really, really tired of taking the widget off the left-hand side and putting it on the right-hand side. And you do this all day, every day. Time pressures. You may be giving a task to do by 4 o'clock by your boss or supervisor that is multiple pages, maybe 50 pages or so, is due at 4 o'clock, and they give it to you at 1:30, and you're on your way out the door to lunch. Unclear expectations. This is a point that frustrates a lot of people. They want to know, if I'm going to be evaluated, what are you evaluating me on? What's your rubric or your standard to say I'm doing a good job? This causes stress. Public attitudes. This is something that a lot of people worry about. What are they thinking about me? The only thing I really have to say about that is this: you cannot control what other people think. So then therefore live your life thinking positively about yourself will start to eliminate a whole lot of that stress. Behavioral symptoms of stress: obesity and overeating, increased or excessive drinking of alcohol. And a lot of people do this and they consider it to be self-medicating. If you get to the point where you have to have a drink to go to bed at night, you're starting to develop a problem. If you're getting to the point that you are comfortable and you feel like drinking alone on a regular basis, you might need to talk to somebody. There's a chance of a loss of appetite or anorexia. If you smoke, you'll start to smoke 2 or 3 packs a day. However, nowadays with cigarettes costing nearly $7 a pack, that could be an expensive way to self-medicate. Increased coffee consumption. You may ingest large volumes of coffee because that caffeine makes you feel a certain way that you like. So these are just some of the behavioral symptoms of stress. There's also the chance excessive and continuing irritability with other people. A lot of people struggle with irritability, and it's not necessarily always a symptom of stress, but it is very common. Substance abuse is another one. People have a tendency to engage in things that could potentially compromise their physiological well-being, but it makes them feel good for the moment. In essence, it's a short-term pleasure can bring long-term pain. So you have difficulty making decisions, unable to concentrate. This is very common with people under stress. They can't focus on anything because of the potential pain or the anguish or the angst that they feel inside, and they could have an increased or suppressed anger. Increased anger, they're angry all the time. Suppressed anger, they're passive aggressive or they're just bitter people in general. These are just some signs, and none of these signs happen to everyone at all times. Some may never happen to you at all, but you still will exhibit some type of behavioral manifestation if you are truly afflicted with stress. Stress symptoms include a loss of sense of humor, if in fact you've ever had one. Paranoia, which has to be quickly addressed. Not being able to cope with life, feeling out of control. A lot of people who are really stressed out feel as if I just don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to focus? How am I going to get better? What will I do? I have no idea how to move forward. This is when you come visit a counselor. They jump from one job to another without finishing things. And when I say job, I should have said task. They can't complete anything because they're always worried, stressed out. So they have a tendency to have a lot of incomplete jobs around their home, in their place of employment. They have a tendency to not stick to things till it's completed. Excessive emotion. Someone who is stressed out may be crying at the smallest of irritations, a paper cut. Someone says something that they don't agree with, or they feel as if they should have did better than they did. For instance, on a test, someone cries because they got a 97 instead of 100 on a test. If you get a 97 on everything for the rest of your life, you will be very happy, healthy, and successful. Behavior symptoms: lack of interest in anything other than work. Some people hide their stress in coming to work all the time. That's what you call a workaholic. If they go home, they have to deal with their stress. If they go outside, they have to deal with things they may not want to deal with. So they bury themselves in their work. Some people call them successful, some call them workaholics. But in all things, there must be a level of balance. See, and they're also too permanently tired, even after sleep. Another very common symptom of stress. People will sleep 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours, and they wake up and they're still tired because they didn't get a chance to go into that deep REM sleep. And another common symptom of behavioral symptoms of stress is decreased sex drive, or libido. A lot of people who are suffering with stress have a tendency to have no interest whatsoever in sex. And stress can lead to nail biting. That one most people are aware of. Now, signs of stress could be chest pains or palpitations. Some people really think that they're having a heart attack. Migraine, frequent headaches, and tension headaches. Headaches can emanate from the frontal lobes all the way to the back part of the neck. You may have indigestion. This is very common. They call it heartburn. You're not processing food adequately because stress is causing you to increase the amount of acid inside your stomach. Nausea. You feel like you want to vomit. You're unstable. And heartburn, we talked about that one. You could lose your appetite. You could become constipated. You may have diarrhea. You may have stomach cramps. You may become shaky or tremor or have nervous twitches. You may not be able to stop tapping. You may have muscle cramps and spasms. All of this is the result of stress in the life of a person that's unresolved. And once again, you do not have to have all the signs of stress, but anytime you get either one of these, you should investigate what it is that is going on. And in keeping track of stress in one's life, one has to be honest and open and willing to admit that they either don't understand something is out of control, and you have to fervently seek help from individuals. That's why counselors and people are around to assist you and to help you process some of the events in your life that may not make sense to you. And this is very common. A lot of people have shame with this. There is no shame in you coming to a situation of which you don't know what to do. A very common situation that a lot of people deal with is that they don't know how to raise their children. It is stressful. It is hard to be a responsible person if you've never been around role models or anybody to show you how to be a father, how to be a mother, how to care for a child. This is why it is important for us to seek help, to seek guidance and advice from individuals who are in a position to offer clear, honest, integrity-based advice. And when you come into a crossroad in your life and you just don't know what to do, and you want to throw your hands up because you just feel as if life is unfair and things aren't going your way and you don't understand because you're doing everything you can the right way as best you know, this is when you seek professional help. And there's no shame in it because confidentiality is a must, and it is ensured to you that you must be willing to go in. And counselors, unless you talk about something that is criminal, it is generally always confidential what it is that you discuss. But stress long-term can have serious long-term side effects that could alter the quality of your life if it is not dealt with in a reasonable amount of time. And it is something that is more than likely fixable if you allow yourself to receive the assistance and avail yourself to the time to receive the assistance such that someone can help you walk this journey down this slippery slope to a land that's stable, and you once again have a reasonable amount of control over the things that are going on in your life. But I tell you this too, there's never a time in your life where things don't happen unexpectedly. So we have to learn coping skills and strategies that I'm going to get to in a few to help you deal with things as they come, because life happens. It's on a bumper sticker. I've seen it in commercials. And a large part of our success is going to be governed by how we respond when life happens. See, one of the things in society that a lot of us make mistakes in, it's not the idea that something bad happens, it's how do we interpret it. If we don't equate it to our self-worth, if we don't find a way to beat ourselves down or make ourselves feel bad or play all the tapes in the back of our head of the negative input that we received over the years, we might be able to find some redeeming characteristic in that situation. And sometimes we'll open our eyes up and realize that there was a lot of stuff I did to precipitate this stress, such as in a testing situation. If you have never studied the book, opened the book up or bought it, or afraid to market it because you want to sell it back, therefore you're not adequately taking notes or preparing for the quizzes, why are you stressed out when you walk in and you receive a less than standard grade? You've done nothing to prepare yourself for the battle of the test because you decided that you didn't want to do what it takes to get the outcome that is appreciable or desirable to you. So then therefore, you have to put forth the effort and be willing to change. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. Change is necessary. You have to be willing to do things that you've never done. And I'm not talking about risking your life. I'm not talking about feeling uncomfortable ingesting animals or plants or something that you've never eaten before, but be willing to admit that I'm not doing what I need to do and I need to change my behavior. A lot of the stress that a student has will be diminished just by admitting that and then seeking help from skilled professionals who are adapted and well trained to be able to assist them to move on such that a lot of this academic stress will not manifest itself, resulting in the headaches, resulting in time out of class, resulting in you running into the office saying, I need to drop my classes after the deadline because you would have adequately prepared. Don't inflict unnecessary stress on yourself. Now, stress can also lead to increased sweating, increased hair loss. Many of us don't need that. It's going to happen anyway. So then therefore, why accelerate the process? Your fingers may feel numb. Your toes may become cold. It can even lead to infertility. See, stress is a very consuming thing. It's kind of like fire. Fire feeds on everything that's around it, looking for more oxygen. Fire is something, the one thing, you put one drop of water in something, and unless it evaporates, you only have one drop of water. But that fire, one drop of fire can consume a whole village because it's always active, seeking what it can do. It's constantly trying to advance itself if nothing is done to extinguish that fire. Look at that fire as stress in your life. If you don't do anything to remove, eradicate, diminish this stress, then it will be like a fire. It will ignite and this ball will cascade into a huge voluminous eruption like a volcano, and it will consume you because you did not handle it when it was just the size of a little match. We have to handle stress in our lives and not be willing to identify it such that we won't be like the lady on this slide, holding her head, wondering, what more can I do? These children are out of control. Take control of your life. In a soothing, legal way, take control of your life. You can have menstrual irregularity. You can be impotent, man. More frequent asthma attacks. More frequent flu and colds. You can have neck pain and back pain. All of this is the result of stress if it's undealt with. Now, a primary causes of student stress is my family expects me to be successful. Now, this has pros and cons. If in fact you are in school for the right reasons, you're going to strive to be successful anyway. And if you're coming to counseling and receiving the advice of those of us who've come before you, you will understand that there are certain classes you should not take together, especially if you're honest with yourself once again. Why would you start the fire that kindles stress? If you know that you are a student who struggles in mathematics, why would you take a full load of math classes and math-based classes in the same semester? You're inflicting stress on yourself. I'm afraid of failing. Now, to be totally honest, who isn't? The trick of it is, the difference between the coward and the courageous person is that the courageous person forges on even though they are afraid. If you live on the if principle, you will never move forward, because there is no one that's successful that has not failed at something. We all have failed at something, and it's a normal part of growth and development. Want to know a few things that we all have failed at? We all have failed learning how to walk. We all have failed learning how to ride bikes. Our older siblings and our parents have all types of humorous, embarrassing stories. And for us guys, a lot of us failed being potty trained. Guess what? We all became potty trained, I hope. We all learned to ride a bike, and we all walk. Those of us who have the physiological abilities to do it. You're always going to find, there's always going to be some new avenue or something in your life of which you first try, and you might not succeed. See, failure is a personal reference. The one thing that I love about failure, it lets me know what I shouldn't do in the future. It doesn't dictate to me that I don't have a future, because prior failures don't guarantee you're going to have future failures. Prior failure should be a ladder or a stepping stone to let you know what you need to work on, such that the next time you try this, now you increase the likelihood of you being successful. In an overactive social life, this was a gamut or a problem that I fell into when I was 18 years old in college. We think we have to party and kick it and socialize and chop it up all times of night and day. Well, my friends, I have to tell you this. A lot of us older people have struggled and suffered with this one. Your life will be so much sweeter if you wait till after you get the degree, get the great career, get real money, and you can party the way you really want to. You might want to go to Hawaii for a week and go to luau's and have a good time. The partying that you're doing right now is nothing in consequence or comparison to what you could do after you get the degree. After the degree, you can be set free. Now you have greater potential earnings. You are now able to do things that many people that came along with you on this journey will never be able to do. I'm not saying we should not have friends. I'm not saying we should not socialize. But everything has its place. There's a time and a place for everything. If you have a 5 or a 10-page paper due tomorrow and you have not started on it, tonight is not the night for Facebook. Tonight is not the night for Twitter. Tonight is not the night for Skype. Tonight is not the night for you to go to the bar, the club, or wherever you hang out at and just sit around, talk, chop it up with your friends. Tonight is the night that you say, I'm going to run my destiny. I'm not going to let the fireball of stress consume any more of my life. I'm going to go home. I'm going to handle my business at the library. You're going to have to make a conscious decision to do what it is you need to do. Now, on the back end of that, you should never wait until the last minute to do anything. Causes of student stress, explore further. My children demand a lot of time. Now, as a counselor, we deal with this a lot. When you start school, this is why it is absolutely imperative that every student comes into the counseling office and develop a rapport with the counselor, such that we will get to know you. It's not like a doctor, but we get to know you and we can help you process some of these things that are going on. It is difficult to go to school if you're a single parent and you have children and different things. But if you come into our offices, we have a whole lot of well-trained, licensed individuals who are willing to sit down and help you decide, should you be full time? Should you be part-time? Have you considered that junior gets out of school at this time? Have you done this? And I know it may seem trivial, but when you process it with somebody else, a lot of times speaking stuff out loud helps you understand the parts that you are missing. And I do not do well with deadlines. That is one you're not going to get around. You're in college to get a higher education, and you're also in college to increase the likelihood of obtaining vocational or career employment. Deadlines are a part of life, and if you stop waiting to the last minute, the stress of deadlines will be minimized greatly. My partner needs a lot of my time. Now, if you're not married, I'll leave that alone. If you're married, your spouse should understand that The higher your degree goes, the more likelihood your lifestyle will improve together. If you're not married, you need to have one of those difficult conversations and let them know that this education is for a short amount of time. If you allow me the time to do what I need to do, then we'll be able to do better in all the things that we strive to do. But we have to work together. This is just a suggestion. Nothing is 100%. But if you ever come across that crossroad, once again, the counseling office is there, case by case. I should be able to study at work. Now, this one right here to me makes absolutely no sense, but I've heard this one from students. The concept of work implies that you're supposed to be doing something for the employer, not for yourself. So these are some things that you need to consider. And as a rule of thumb, all personal matters should be done on personal time. I'm not a labor relations expert or HR personnel, but if you're hired to do a task, that's all you're supposed to be doing at that time. If you lose your job because you're trying to multitask inappropriately, you're creating another fireball of stress that is unnecessary for you. Give your employer their due, as most people do, and give school its due. The other part of that is that far too many students walk away from school just because they get a little job. When you sought to get that job, why wouldn't you tell the employer that you're in college currently? Most employers admire people who are willing to take their education up and gain further knowledge. You become a much more valued commodity for the place of employment. So why would you hide the fact that you're going to school? Why would you not communicate with your professors if your shift changes? Why would you not withdraw appropriately? And I do not advocate that unless it's absolutely mandatory. But you should not be able to study at work. There's some things in life we should not do. Now, overcoming stress. I've talked about this briefly already. You have to discuss your priorities. What's important to you? Write them down, make them tangible. You have to exercise regularly. It is really, really beneficial for everyone to set aside time throughout the day, or at least 3 times a week. And I'm not an expert at this. This is what I've heard and I've read. To exercise to the point that they're sweating. This helps alleviate a lot of stress and built up tension. And if you schedule your time, the time you're supposed to be at work and school and study and family and social life and all those other things, you will find out that your day and your life is not as stressful anyway. And the last one, talking positively to yourself. Everybody should do this. I know some people think, well, that's crazy, you're talking to yourself. No, tell yourself, other than the fact, ooh, I'm pretty, ooh, I'm cute, ooh, I'm handsome. No, tell yourself that I am a mathematical person. I can handle this math. Math ain't got nothing on me. English paper, you might seem like you're difficult because I can't type, but I'm going to learn to type. English paper, I'm going to learn grammar. English paper, I'm going to go to the writing center. I'm going to get tutoring. Don't ever just back down. Talk positively to yourself. Let yourself know that you are somebody. Most of us have heard enough negative stuff in our life that we no longer need to receive any more negative information from anybody at any time or anywhere. So we have to learn how to take that negative input and twist it and make it into something positive and use it as a method of energizing ourselves to move forward. We can't allow ourselves to wallow in that quagmire of despair of what happened in our lives and not develop new meanings, not develop new associations. If the people that you associate with are bringing you down, then you're associating with the wrong people. That alleviates some stress. If everything that you're doing is causing you to fail your classes, well, maybe you need to stop doing it. I know it sounds really easy. It's not necessarily super difficult. Most people know what they're doing that's stopping them from achieving what it is that they're really after. Are you really in college to receive a degree? You need to ask yourself that question. Positive talk is important. What are you here for? If you really have the goal of becoming an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, or a Bachelor of Science of Nursing, or even a Master of Science of Nursing, or even beyond, an attorney or something, are you in college to do that? Are you just doing the here and now and not focusing on the long-term goals? Because if you're focusing on a long-term goal, you will start to find ways to minimize stress anyway, because you're marching to a different drum than you were before. You're going to break some of those inculcated bad habits, and you're going to develop new habits. Organizing your time and exercising physically. I'm not talking about playing Sudoku, or Sudoku, however you say it. Discuss your priorities. Find someone positive to talk to, a counselor, a friend that is going the direction that you're going. That is important, because it's almost like this. Why would you ask your 50-year-old uncle who's living in your grandmother's basement, who has nothing, how to make money and be successful? Align yourself with people that are going in the direction you want to go. That's positive peer relationships. It's mentorship. It's networking. The more you know, the more likely you are to stay on the road that leads to less stress. Remember, I didn't say no stress. Reward yourself. It is important that you reward yourself. Periodically, take yourself out to eat. I know some of the things that I do, I really like to eat. So when Red Lobster is having that all-you-can-eat shrimp, I make it a point to go to Red Lobster. I don't eat all day. I drink a lot of water, shake it off, and I sit down in there for 3 hours. I reward myself. My wife and I go, and we have a good time. And then after that, we then begin to eat a little healthy. I've increased the consumption of vegetables. I've increased the consumption of water. I make myself do these things, and now they become habits. And one other thing that we have to really concentrate on, as I mentioned in the previous slide, is support network. You have to surround yourself in this picture around people that are going where you want to go. You cannot become a basketball player hanging around with people who don't even play. You have to be willing to get a support network that is supportive. I don't mean they have to agree with you all the time, because I don't want a yes person around me. I want somebody to challenge me when I have cognitive distortions or I'm thinking inappropriately about a situation, to come to me and say, hey, Webb, that ain't right. I need friends like that. We all do. And they're saying it ain't right, not for selfish reasons. They're saying it because they know I can do better. And they're not jealous of me because I'm doing better. We're all trying to pull each other up. That's a positive support network. We get together, we talk about it. See, the thing about it in life that I've learned, and this is my opinion now, is that I don't need to know everything. I just need to know people that know, or need to know people that know where to go get it. So that alleviates some stress too. And sleep is important. And relaxation. You have to find things you like to do and do them. Oh, I love to golf, and I love to bowl. I love physical activities that have me outside. I even like biking through the parks and over these pathways and stuff. This is something that is really exciting to me, and I enjoy it. And the next thing is that I'm sweating, so I'm releasing tension. I'm involved in an activity that I enjoy, so my mind is cleared of any tasks that I have had recently that will be clogging it up and stopping me from encountering joy and happiness anyway. So then, therefore, I need to involve myself in things that are fun. Now, involving yourself in things that are fun, too, should not take up all of your day unless it's vacation. A lot of people get caught up. They're going to have 8 hours of recreation, 2 hours of study. I do it the other way. While you're in college, put forth a whole lot of effort to go after what it is you want. And then afterwards, when you get it, there is no better feeling that any individual can have, especially one that was subjected to ridicule, one that was subjected to people not believing in them, one that came up dirt poor, one that's overcome all types of obstacles, negative input from instructors and teachers, and people that come from neighborhoods where they said, you never gonna be nothing. Nothing is more thrilling than to walk across a stage with a cap and gown on, and you open it up and your name is on a degree saying X amount of this degree is conferred upon, blah, blah, blah. That is a very thrilling, once in a lifetime experience each time you do it. So don't allow stress to deprive you of that ultimate high in life of accomplishment because you have achieved the dream of earning a degree. See, stress will debilitate, stress will destroy, stress will keep you in a place that you will never enjoy real happiness. So whatever you do, keep your life, try to keep it organized. Find things you like to do. Be sure to involve yourself with people who are positive, who are going the direction you want to go. Sometimes you got to shake the haters off so you can move forward. You have to do this. If not, if you keep doing everything that you've always been doing, you will always have what you have now. And very few of us want exactly what we have now 10 years from now. Even Bill Gates wants something different, if nothing but to make Microsoft bigger. Everybody wants something, and everybody is worthy of something. But stress will destroy your life if you don't deal with it. And stress is one of those things that you have to deal with, because if you don't deal with stress, it will be like the 800-pound gorilla in the room, people trying to walk around. I love that commercial like that, because the gorilla has not always been 8 feet tall, 800 pounds. The gorilla at one time was an infant ape. And that problem got a chance to manifest and grow and feed and nurture. And it was 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 400 pounds, 500 pounds, 600 pounds, 700 pounds, 800-pound gorilla in your room now. And it was the same gorilla that was there at 50 pounds when it was an infant. But you didn't deal with it. Deal with your stress. Seek professional guidance and assistance. Find things you like to enjoy that are reasonable and safe. Organize your life. Seek help. Counselors, psychologists, instructors, the Learning Center. Seek help from individuals that can help you organize your life, which will definitely improve the quality of your life. Seek and spend time doing the things that you need to do for 2 to 3 years. And then you can take the rest of your life to enjoy your life because of the fruits of your labor. Don't deprive yourself of anything. Increase physical activity. I'll talk about that. Proper nutrition, social support system, relaxation. And if none of these work, always consult a professional. You're here at Tri-C. The counseling office is in the Student Services Center, room 130. Make it a point to get to know one of us over there so we can help you. We are there to help you. We will not judge you. We will not do anything other than encourage you and help you to achieve the dream of decreasing the amount of stress in your life, helping you go forward with your plan, and we will even help you graduate. Not going to do your work for you. Don't get that wrong. We're not going to help you do all your work like that, but we will help you lead a life that is less stress-free. We will help you go out into this world not worried about the things that have happened to you in the past. They did happen. We're not going to say that they didn't happen. But you can also, too, decide that you're going to do things now to make the light in your life brighter. A brighter day is coming if you start to deal with the things in your life that are stopping you from achieving greatness. And that fireball of stress is one of which you have a considerable amount of control if you allow yourself to receive the assistance, a positive support group, relaxation and exercise, and a good healthy diet, and get yourself organized such that you won't be waiting to the last minute. You will always stay ahead of the game, and you will always be in the game, because you're going to end this game. Soon you will graduate, and you will be an alumni of Cuyahoga Community College.